We would like to acknowledge that this podcast was recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri and Boon Wurrung people of the Kulin Nation. We value their cultures, identities, and continuing connection to country, waters, kin, and community. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. James.
Yes.
Listen, mate, listen. This is important, all right? Bob Hawke introduced Medicare to Australia. The original Apple Macintosh was launched. Gandhi was unfortunately assassinated, and we welcomed a particular James to the world again. I'm Rich.
I'm particular James.
We watched a couple of films from 1984, and that's popcorn.
Yay!
Their behavior's not good.
Commander, stop you now, right there, because
The Swapties.
One lamb kebab.
I've abandoned my child!
Now, give me money.
Tell me who sent you.
Listen, mate, this is important.
Now it's been
Survivors.
I thought you were real.
That's popcorn.
That's popcorn.
Yeah, I like the repeat of the particular James gag.
Repeat. Particular James. Here we go. I've got a beer, but it is
Hey!
it is naught. It's naught because it's non-alcoholic beer.
Hey!
Yeah, it's
Is
just-
that good?
Just a refreshing ale.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Bit of bubbles.
Yeah.
Bit of bubbles for,
That's right.
for a day.
Naught, if you want to sponsor us, hit us up at thatispopcorn@gmail.com. Or maybe is it that? I don't know. Whatever. Hello at thatspopcorn.com. That's the one.
Just Google it.
Just bloody Google it. Hello!
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of That's Popcorn. My name is Rich, and with me I have a particular James.
Particular James
Particular.
is here.
It makes it sound like you're really specific, like you really are picky.
I am super picky.
Yeah.
As you've probably been able to drive from the last 15 or so episodes.
Yeah.
Very particular.
Yeah, we hate it when we're going out. We're like, oh, do we invite James or do we invite particular James? And everyone's like, oh, it's too hard with particular James. It's too many dietary requirements.
Yeah, that's it. It takes me like an hour to choose a drink.
That's right.
No, this glass is too clear.
I want this this glass dirtier. I want this Das dirtier.
Not that dirty though.
All right. Flawless
Yep.
intro. So that's Popcorn. This is a show where we watch a bad film and we watch a good film, and they're from a particular year, particular James, particular year. Oh,
If the
boy.
word particular wants to sponsor us at any time,
Yeah.
just hit us up.
Hashtag
I just-
particular, hashtag that's popcorn.
Yeah, we can say all the good things about the word particular.
Literally, we will do a lot of things for money. So just hit us up. We'll advertise.
That's the one situation where we're not that particular.
Yeah, that's right. When money's involved, straight on it. Yeah, we watched a couple of films for 1984, and one of them is it's pretty bleak. So I can't wait for us to extract some fun content out of this one.
Yep.
That film is called Threads. Came out in 1984, and you're going to watch the trailer right now. Yeah, hi. This is Richard from That's Popcorn. I'm just jumping in here because I'm sick of dealing with all the copyright issues from the trailers. So there's no trailer for Threads right now. But if you go to YouTube and you search for Threads trailer, you'll probably find it. So maybe do that. Thanks. The episode will resume as per usual. Welcome back. That was the trailer for Threads. James, this film is maybe one of the most bleak films I've ever seen in my entire life. Spoiler alert, heads up, spoiler alert. If you haven't seen this film, I don't know, should I say don't watch it. No.
Don't do it.
I mean,
Don't do it. If you ever want to have joy again in your life,
yeah.
and not be terrified of what the future may bring, don't watch this film.
Yeah, I feel like we've watched a few films where it's like, this is a great film that you should never watch. You should just stay away from it because it's so bleak. But yeah, Threads is set in, I think it's actually set later than 1984.
87, I believe.
And the scenario is, it's all sort of around that, I think maybe Cold War panic.
End of the Cold War.
Yeah, and we start in like a kind of harmless English town of Sheffield.
Was it Sheffield? I feel like it's Sheffield.
And we're introduced to some characters. They're kind of in their little car. Boyfriend, girlfriend. They find out that the girlfriend's pregnant, and dramas scale from there. It all seems quite quaint and quite local. And so he goes back to his family, and he's like, "Oh, what are you going to do?" And he's like, "I'm going to marry her." And
that was good. I like that one.
And then, is anything else important happened before then? There's about 10, 15, 20 minutes or so of just kind of world building.
Just like the setup of the characters, which after that 20 minutes, they don't really matter, to be honest.
Kind of, yeah. But yeah, it's shot in a really interesting way because it's very reminiscent of like the kind of movie you might have watched in science class, where there's there's like a voiceover at times, and it's sort of not really connected to what's happening in the narrative, and then there's like stuff on screen and they're kind of explaining like how things work, but then it goes into the narrative and it's much more drama. It's interesting. But to cut a long story short, we go through all the nonsense of life, and then the Russians drop two nuclear bombs, right? On England. And I think the first one's like maybe like 300 megatons or something, or kilotons. Can't remember. But I just remember like I was frantically Googling like how much nuclear bomb was dropped on Hiroshima as like a scale, and this is like 100,000 times more or something. So I'm like, okay, they didn't hold back with the kind of depiction of nuclear bomb droppage. And then we just follow the next like 10, 15, 20, no, maybe it's about 10, 15 years, I think.
Yeah, 15 years.
Of life in England as it just it goes bad. It all goes real bad.
Yeah. And not like other movies of this style where like there's a group of survivors banding together to try to, make the best life. It's literally just anyone doing what they need to survive, and I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was getting close to the end, and I'm like, we're going to end really bleak, aren't we? And then I thought we were near the end, and then it just went a little bit further to be even more bleak, and to just end on a freeze frame of, we're going to jump around, but it actually, no, you know what? We'll come back to it in a bit because there's more to kind of, I think, pull out before that.
Remind me of all the horror that I went through last Tuesday night.
So
just bring that back to me again, because
so nuclear bomb gets dropped. The two families who we kind of follow for a little bit, and then there's probably like three central characters. So there's the two families, and then the kind of guy that works for the government. That they've set up a basement
bunker
thing, which in hindsight maybe not the best idea because they can't get out because the whole world crumbles on top of them, and that seems a bit like kind of like a West Wing thick of it vibe, but not funny at all, and just people kind of losing their minds because they're kind of locked in this bunker, trying to figure out trying to make decisions around how they spend rations and stuff, and rationalizing, no pun intended, that they need to people are just going to die essentially.
Yeah. And I feel like they arrived at that decision immediately.
Yeah.
And it was like within 2 seconds, bombs went off, everyone's going to die, no point trying to do anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's probably realistic.
The thing that does make it kind of, I don't want to say warming or nice to watch, but it's nicer to watch than an American version would be, is they're like, oh, can we just put on some tea and bickies? Like, despite all of this, there is like a kind of quintessential quaint Englishness to it. So yeah, they're in the basement there, and then we've got Ruth and her family who have created like a bit of a bunker. So it's her mum, her dad, and her grandmother. Her grandmother soils herself and then dies shortly later. They're all kind of being affected by. Actually, I don't know if they're affected by radiation so much as the other family. I forget the guy's name, but the guy's family, where they've just sort of set up some beds next to a wall.
They got mattresses next to the door.
Yeah, and I don't know what happened to their daughter. We didn't really see, but we did see them go out and try to find their son, and then just find like a leg sitting out of a rubble. The mother is like lost, like burnt half of her face off. The father is slowly losing his mind. They're all very sick because of radiation and everything. You know, they're trying to drink water. Like there's a moment where he goes over to the sink, which is sort of like freestanding now because all the walls are falling around it, and tries to turn it on. And surprisingly, some water comes out, but it's no good. We do follow back with him a little bit later, and he's sort of a drunken old mess, and then dies.
Yeah.
Like he's lost all his hair. I didn't even know it was him for a second until
I lost track of who any character was other than Ruth.
Yeah, well, it's easy to do because they all kind of fall apart. But yeah, so then we have Ruth's family, and she kind of escapes when they're taking the grandmother's body out of the bunker, because we've been told earlier through PSAs that we're running that that's what you're meant to do. It's a really good setup, for this bleak film. And then, we follow Ruth for the most part, I think, for the film. She's pregnant. She starts, moving around the town and runs into people who are also losing their minds, and there's rubble everywhere, and it's a foggy mess, and there's nothing good. There's no good scenes.
It's no good. There's they made it to a hospital, and that's just the worst.
Oh no. Yeah, that hospital is...
Didn't like watching that.
Yeah, and the narration talks about how, like, without any implements or anything, the doctors know much better than the next person or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. There is actually, before all of this, there is a scene of panic buying, and that's just a little bit close to home.
That was a lot close to home.
Yeah.
A lot of this sort of set up for the end of the world. Like, that's the thing about this movie. It's incredibly accurate. And we saw this at the start of COVID. Like, what people do in this movie is exactly what happened, even though this movie was made 20-something years ago. It's insanely accurate how this movie, despite being made in 1984, predicted exactly how people would behave when there's the threat of something happening.
Yeah, and even though this was made and was lauded critically, was aired on like BBC, I think. I don't know how they managed to air this on television, but anyway. But despite all that, we still haven't learnt anything, so that's good. There was like a bit of trivia that people think Ronald Reagan's seen it and like adjusted how he spoke in a speech later on because of it or something, which is interesting.
When I said I was watching this movie, I was speaking to a friend, and I'm like, this week we're watching Threads. And she's like, I've seen that. I'm interested to see what you think. And I'm like, cool, I will tell you what I think. And then I replied after watching it, was like, a bit of warning might have been nice. You were like so upbeat, like I was watching Wayne's World. So I was like, interested to see what you think. Yeah, it's pretty good. We watched it the other night because it was really into nuclear war films. I'm like, okay. And then watched it and was like, how can you talk about this movie without your eyes glazing over and having like panic attacks? And
they were talking about the same film. This
was the exact same film.
Okay, cool. That person needs to be looked after.
Like, oh my God.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's such an upbeat thing.
Yeah, it's a harrowing experience. I don't think anyone would enjoy it. The guy on the cover, I thought there was going to be like a more of a sort of and this is why you don't judge a film by its cover, I guess, but I thought there was going to be more of sort of like a banding together of people, or there might be like a villain or something, but really it's just a depiction of what would actually happen. But there's a guy on the cover who's like covered in bandages and stuff. He's a bit of a soldier. He's not in the film until like an hour or so in, and is in it for about 5 seconds. Like he's not a character.
10 seconds, if that. Like even the name Threads is sort of loose because I'm like, all right, it's going to be called Threads because we're going to watch like different threads of people and how they like unite and stuff. But you don't really. It's
what is the point of the film title?
I don't know. Like at the start, there's the spider weaving its little web.
Where was that?
Like the very start, it's the first thing you see.
Oh, okay.
And like the narrator's like, there's a threads, and these are some threads, and a spider makes a web.
And when you add oxygen to hydrochloride,
look
around
right,
you.
I got this. Yeah, just one thing that I think it's not redeeming. This film doesn't need redeeming. It was made to tell a story, and I think it did that quite well. It's not a story that I ever want to watch again. Even talking about this, I was a bit iffy. I'm like, maybe we just cancel the podcast for this. Maybe maybe we don't need to do that. But then I was looking into it. I'm like, all right, this guy made this film. It's very good at it. What else has he done since? Now that I would never have guessed. So he went on and he did Volcano, starring Tommy Lee Jones and Anne Heche.
Yep.
Which is probably as far away from this film as you can get while still making a disaster movie.
Yeah. Was there something else too? I feel like there was another film.
Yeah, he obviously moved to America and just went, okay, need to start making films that Americans will like, and went totally against the grain. That's
right. He did The Bodyguard as well.
Yeah, that's right. Which, like, so odd. I wonder if anyone who's like, my two favorite movies, The Bodyguard and Volcano, I'm going to watch all the work that this guy's done, and then decided that they'll never watch a movie again.
Yeah. I mean, he's versatile. So good on him.
Yeah. Well done. I mean, I guess this is like, if you can make a movie like this and get it on BBC, then you can pretty much do anything.
You are a god. Maybe it wasn't a movie. Maybe this actually happened. We just
don't say that. That's not even funny.
Did you notice the shot of E.T. melting?
I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I went back. It's E.T. It's 100% E.T. And I don't know, like, is it meant to be a figurine of E.T., or did they think that they could just chuck E.T. in and we'll be like, yeah, that's a person? Because it's not clear.
I thought it might have been a horribly disfigured person.
Yeah, no, I went back. It's E.T. It's straight up E.T. It's very funny. It's
a little bit of levity is what this film needed. I guess right. Melting E.T. is that.
Yeah, there's a great scene later on where I forget where it happens, but it's right after Jane, Ruth's daughter, is born.
Yes.
And they're in like a stable, and I think it's Christmas time.
It's Christmas.
And they've set it up like a nativity scene. It's a really bizarrely like artistic kind of approach to it.
And it only goes for like 10 seconds. That scene. It's like, and here's what happened 9 months after the attack. And they're in this nativity scene eating porridge. And then it just goes, and here's what happened 3 years later. I'm like,
yeah.
So
yeah, they escalate quickly. Yeah, and she gives birth to Jane by herself in like a hall. No, I don't know, just around a corner essentially.
In a manger.
Yeah, and then has to nibble the umbilical cord apart.
Yeah, that was a nice,
pleasant scene.
That's it. And like, if I know anything from this, like, if there is a similar thing that happens and I end up surviving, that's the worst option. Like, because it doesn't get better. Even 15 years later, it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they all start to lose their language.
Yes.
Which is interesting. And there's a shot later on. So Jane's grown up. She's like 10. And she's at like, I don't want to call it a school, but it's probably the closest thing they have to a school. And they're watching like a video about shapes or something, or animals. I can't remember.
It was How to Recognize Skeletons.
It was, wasn't it?
This is a cat skeleton.
And yeah, they're all in like a gym or something, just watching this video that's clearly deteriorated over time because it's all like wobbling and stuff. And there's like an old woman sitting there who's just miming along with it because she must have seen it a million times. Jane doesn't have much language. Everyone just kind of says, "Go on, giz, go on." That's kind of all they say.
Yeah, I don't know if you've been in the north of England before. But...
Well, we lost all of our northern Englishmen. But yeah, so she's 10 now, and then she gets sexually assaulted and gives birth, has like a stillborn, and then that's how they end the film. Her freeze frame, her distressful face, end
her
of film.
Screaming at her deformed child.
Yeah. This is after Ruth has died, by the way. Just wanted to cheer you up.
Yeah.
As they're all harvesting they're all working on some farm or something.
Yeah, like because crops don't exist. Oh God, it's just the worst.
Yeah. The interesting thing was not the entire world had gone to shit, because there's the bit where they're trying to force the 4 people into this old man's home, and then he runs them out with a shotgun. And the guy leading that is speaking like a normal person and is sort of organized.
Well, that's it. Like, I thought in a world where this happened, like, what's Australia doing? Where it's like, man, that happened in England kind of sucks, but,
Well, I mean,
that's a shame.
Stuff like this has happened in, like, Chernobyl and in Japan, and...
I feel like we kind of, like, the world tried to help, but I don't know. We'll never know. Maybe one day they'll make a sequel. Threads 2, Down Under.
Sewing the threads of time. I don't know.
Threads 2. We still don't know how this metaphor fits in.
Oh man, but yeah, harrowing.
The one positive thing from the film, I think, is its use of Johnny Be Good.
Okay,
it paid for one song, and just like used it sporadically, and then it sort of comes up later on. You're just like, oh, this reminds me of a better time when I was listening to Johnny Be Good.
When did they use that? Because they don't have a lot of music in the film.
It's just Johnny Be Good. I think it's like they're listening to it in the car at the start.
Okay.
It comes on at the pub when they're at the pub, and then later on there's something else.
That's funny. Yeah, because there's no music really. There's no like soundtrack in this film as far as I remember, which probably makes it does make it like that more sort of documentary style, fly on the wall type thing. Does make it kind of feel a lot more authentic.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of fun facts.
Please.
Nope, I've got a couple of not fun facts as well. So Jane, who was played by Victoria O'Keeffe or Vicky O'Keeffe, so that's the daughter of Ruth. She unfortunately died when she was 21 from a car accident.
Oh,
that's just sad, really.
Yep.
It's not a fun fact at all.
How can we make this more bleak, Richard?
But I thought I'd get that one out of the way first so that I could talk about. There's an IMDb credit for Anne Sellers. She was born in 1952. She died in 2015, age 63. She's got one role and one role only, and it's an uncredited role. Her role is in this movie, Threads, as a woman who urinates on herself. And she's the main picture. If you go to the IMDb page, she's usually the first person you see on the trailer. And that image is used as her image as well. And then there's a giant biography. I won't read it all, but it talks about her like upbringing, her love of theater and cinema. She enjoyed a happy and fulfilling life. I feel like it might even be an obituary. I think it is, which someone has just uploaded to IMDb.
No, well,
so it's just, it's very interesting that she has this giant trivia page and she only has one role as a woman who urinated on herself.
That's a real shame. Like, that's not how you want to be remembered forever.
Anne's lessons were legendary or bonkers, described as kids' favourite lessons because of Anne's infectious personality, warmth, genuine nature, empathy, scatty behaviour, and that she was funny, fun, encouraging, bubbly, always had time for her students, went above and beyond what was expected and made everyone feel like a star.
You said scatty behaviour.
Scatty behaviour.
That's like That's like poop, yeah?
Well, I mean, that is probably one definition of scatty behavior. I mean, it is funny in a way. It's scatty behavior, and her one role was woman who urinated on herself. But I think, R.I.P. Anne Sellers, I think you've done the world a service with your role in the movie Threads. I will also point out another uncredited role, but credited on the IMDb page for the character Boy wearing Parker running in shopping center is credited to, and this is all one word, toaster in the bath.
Wow. Okay. I mean, that's
Toaster in the bath.
yeah. It's like Cher.
Yeah. Just toaster in the bath. Oh dear.
Wow. This is unrelated, but I was watching something today and I'm like, that actor looks familiar. So I used the Amazon Prime X-ray thing and the guy's name was Time.
Like the herb or the concept?
No, like the concept. And I'm like, that's good. I like the name Time.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Mm.
It's not quite as good as toaster in the bath, but
I don't think it will be.
Yeah, so that's movie Threads. James, you're at the candy bar, the lolly station. What are you getting before you see the film Threads?
I'm appreciating the fact that there is a candy bar, and I'm panic buying everything because this is awful. Because this is just awful. Like how can I like? It's if this is anyone's favorite film, get yourself looked at.
Yeah.
Like it's not enjoyable. It is very bleak. It will affect you 100%.
Yeah, it's graphic. There are graphic shots of like bodies and mangled bodies and stuff and faces, and you just don't need to see that.
And bad human behavior.
Mm-hmm. Rats.
Yeah.
Lots of rats.
Lots of rats, cooked rats, raw rats.
Yeah. There is a nice scene where they're doing, DIY. They're removing the wallpaper. and then a bomb's dropped. Imagine every film, just at some moment during the film, a bomb got dropped.
Yeah. Well, it would improve some.
Improve Codename the Cleaner.
Yeah. I'd be interested, like, in this film if the bombs weren't dropped and just what happened in their lives. Like, did Ruth and her boyfriend, the bird boy, did they end up getting married? What happened to them?
Yeah, maybe that's what Threads 2 is about. Threads 2, no bomb.
Yeah, like Ruth wakes up and goes, "Oh, that was a scary dream. Oh, I'm still pregnant though."
Yeah. I think you have to have a can of rats and a rock to open it.
Open the can of rats. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the movie Threads, 1984's one of 1984's greatest rated films.
Yes.
But we watched another film from 1984, which you'll see a trailer for now. Hi, sorry, Richard again here from That's Popcorn. You would have just heard me before talking about watching the trailer for this other film, which is called Exterminator 2. You're not going to see that. That's not going to happen because I don't want to put it in, much like with the Threads one. I just keep getting copyright flagged, and it doesn't actually do anything to the video, but it's just annoying, and I can't be bothered. So just go to YouTube and search for it. Just search for it on YouTube. Trailer. That way, you can watch it. Or don't. It's not really that important. None of this is important. You're listening to a film podcast. Anyway, back on with the show.
Hello, this is me welcoming you back. Welcoming. See, I don't usually do the welcome backs, and that's why, because I can't say welcoming. It's hard. It's difficult. Welcoming.
You can't pronounce the letter M.
Welking cack.
Favorite band's tears.
Yeah. Yep. We watched. All right. I know how to link these movies together, Richard.
Yep.
So, we watched the movie Threads.
Yes.
In 2019, a movie came out called Tread. And the movie Tread is about a man, it's a documentary about a man who converted a truck into a tank by covering it with armor and then tried to destroy his town for how they had wronged him. The movie we watched in 1984 was Exterminator 2, which includes a man who reinforces a garbage truck to destroy the people that wronged him.
Good
and
link.
that was a good link. I think that was a good link.
Robert DeGinty is in both.
Robert DeGinty passed away.
Oh, what?
Yeah, he dead now.
Like recently?
Recently, in comparison to Lincoln.
Oh, it's okay. Well, okay. You've alluded to the truck building nature of this film, but maybe
yes, I'll start from the top.
Yeah.
Well, I can't really start from the top because we haven't seen the Exterminator 1.
Yeah, look, that in hindsight, I don't know if that was worth it or not, but yeah,
I think
I don't know. Run us through Exterminator 2.
Yeah, Exterminator 2. We see some crimes going on by a well-dressed gang in New York, and then well-dressed gang gets torched by a man wearing a mask with a flamethrower, and then the surviving members of well-dressed gang go back to their well-dressed gang leader and say, "Oh man, this guy's torching us."
So it's actually the brother that gets back, right? The brother of the leader.
Yes, the brother of the well-dressed leader.
I was rewatching it earlier. He's at the front when they run into the exterminator, and then the exterminator starts exterminating, and he gets away, and the others don't. So I don't know how that works out, but he's quick. He's a quick boy.
He's super quick. He might have had a good name, like Speedy Quickman.
Yeah,
because the baddies did have cool names. Swifty.
The Swifties.
But then we are sort of introduced to Robert DeGinty. His character, his name might be John. I feel like it's John.
Yeah,
and he's sort of like a keep to yourself guy that wears only his old army jacket.
Yeah.
You can tell that he hates bad guys and loves the dancer at his local nightclub.
Yeah.
And they fall in love. He then makes friends with, I assume, is either the guy from the first movie or somebody that he served with in Nam. Couldn't quite work it out, but they were friends.
I can confirm that he is not in the first movie because I thought the same thing. And I was like looking up the details of the first film, but he is not in it.
Not in it.
So,
and then his friend says, "Hey, get a job with me. I drive garbage trucks. You can too." And then he does that for a bit, and then there's the baddies work out that it's him. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happens, and it doesn't really matter. But in the end, his girlfriend, the dancer, gets her knees taken out by the baddies, and then that causes Robert DeGinty to just go on a rampage of revenge. And fair enough.
Yep.
That's pretty much all of it. And it rocks.
It's definitely one of the better bad films we've watched. I have a lot to say about all of it. And none of it's good, but I still think it's a fun film.
It's very fun. Like the producers obviously just worked out how to set people on fire without them dying. And it's like, all right,
let's do it all the time.
All the time. There's so many running man on fire in slow motion scenes in this film.
Well, did you read about how there were reshoots? And even at the end, it says like additional footage directed by the other guy, because apparently they had an original film and they didn't like it or it didn't test well or something, so they did all these reshoots. And a lot of the flamethrower scenes are part of the reshoots, and it's just like the stunt guy in the outfit, not even Robert.
Right. I mean, it could be because he's wearing a mask. So
yeah, exactly.
Look, very quickly, like at the start of this, as soon as you see Robert DeGinty, whose name is actually Robert Ginty, but it's a gag that we're sticking with.
I know what you're talking about.
Robert DeGinty's character, I'm like, I don't like this guy. He's a creep weirdo.
Right.
But then I really warmed to him.
Really?
Okay. Like strange sense of humor and like the scenes with his girlfriend, I think her name was Caroline, like Yeah, like this guy's weird. He's an oddball, but he's an oddball I'd get along with.
I mean, there is a fundamental shift in his personality
Yes.
right after they have sex.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
up until that point, he is the most mumbly, like uncharismatic dude you'll ever find. He's like, "Hey, how you go?
I'm doing a dance.
Maybe I should leave. Oh, I like your dance. I don't really dance. And I'm like, you are the worst person. And then they sleep together. And then the next scene, he is like, "Oh my God, you're such a good dancer. Yay. Yay. Everybody's giving you a standing ovation." I'm like, who's this guy? Where did he come from?
That's why I like him. He went from being just like bumbly moaning guy to somebody who watched all of Michael Keaton's roles, and that was his only like reference for acting. And I'm like, that's a good Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
You're doing a good Michael Keaton.
He went from like drunk James Spader to
Yes, that is a perfect description.
Yeah. So he's essentially Ned Kelly with a flamethrower. A flamethrower. All these pictures need to be in frames. And then he sets people on fire. They don't just die. They become skeletons.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, so tell us, so after the knees get broken.
So after the knees get broken, this is where it gets a little bit blurry for me, because I was just really excited about everything that happened and kind of just lost track of why it was happening.
Yeah.
But he's like, okay, we're going to get these guys, and reinforces the garbage truck with a massive big like snow plow at the front, and that's a start. But then he goes on like a rampage with his army buddy, and
BG.
army buddy dies, and that's more of a reason for him to get more revenge. And so then builds like cool machine guns into it that he like has with all these like steampunky things. So instead of a button that fires a machine gun, he's got to like turn a whole wheel while pulling this thing. It's like a Rube Goldberg machine just to run a machine gun. It's sick.
Yeah. He's like, wait a second. It's coming. Wait. They're just sitting there with their guns. I don't know if it happened before or after that, because more care is given to the death of BG, but his girlfriend gets murdered, and I had to go back and rewatch it to make sure that that's what happened, because you will blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah, because I did blink, because I was rereading this morning, and it's like, oh wait, she died? I was reading like the facts, and it was like, oh, there's a version of the movie where she lived at the end. I'm like, is that the movie I watched? Like, that's what I watched. Nope. And I just wondered why there wasn't a last scene where they meet up together and she's like, oh, I do want to walk again. But no, it just didn't happen. Like,
she died.
She died.
Because we don't see her die. We just see her dead body on the bed with a big red X on it. And so he runs back to the apartment, and then the body's there, and then there's like a flash of like, I think what might have happened or something. And then the next scene, it's like this 40-minute montage of him building the truck. So I missed it the first watch. And even just trying to scan back to find it was difficult, because I was like, really? But she's alive there, and then where is she? It's insane.
The ending probably went a bit long. Like, it's 10 minutes of just two people walking around a big factory.
Yeah, and he's slow. He's so slow.
He's really slow. And I sort of like, he goes down to this tunnel thing and the guy's he's leading him into a trap, but then he comes out of the tunnel thing and just back in the warehouse
back
again.
to where he was. And then there's all these like columns, and Mario Van Peebles' character, what's his name? X. He's just going back and forth, like from a wide shot, going back and forth behind the columns as our main guy, Exterminator man, like watches him, and it goes for way too long. It's the silliest thing.
It's very silly. I like the amount of effort that Mario Van Peebles put into the role, because it's so over the top. Apparently he designed his own costumes, and you can hardly tell.
He walked straight off of the set of Once Were Warriors, I think, with that.
That was rad. And like, there's that scene that also goes for quite a while where he's doing push-ups in the elevator. It goes for like 5 minutes. It's just a push-up montage. It's like one hand, other hand.
I remember that.
like that, yeah. And it's from all different angles. I'm just like, yeah, you're pretty rad. I'm gonna say, like, the gang in this is got to be one of the coolest gangs.
Oh, they're so cool
in this movie. This dude on the roller skates.
Roller skates guy is the coolest guy in a film, hands down.
Yeah, and like, I don't really know what their aim is, but they're kind of a gang and also kind of a cult because they have like, weird torches and do culty stuff.
Well, they kind of infer that they're like homeless, right? And I'm like, okay, so they're homeless, but they're really well organized. They're all men, number one. And they're really so well organized that they are like armed to the teeth with weapons and can like pull things together. But it's like they can't find a home.
Yeah, but also like there's this like, look how they make us live. And they're in this like giant warehouse in New York, which like right now would be worth like $20 million, like for this converted warehouse. Like people love that. It was like, look how they make us live.
Open
like,
fires,
pretty good.
You know,
that's it.
There's this great scene where they robbed the armored truck, and then they kidnap the guy or whatever that is driving the truck, and then they tie him to some rails.
Yep.
And then they put a big X on him, but then they move him to the other rails that are electrified.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But it's great because the skating guy is up in the background and he's just like lying down with his feet up and he's just got scissors and he has to like cut the wire or something to stop the train from being able to stop. I don't understand it. Also, it's electric wire. If you cut that, you're going to get electrocuted 100%, but whatever. Skate boy.
Doesn't matter.
It's just classy. He's just a classy dude, that skate guy. There's a scene where he's just dancing and it's like it's a drop off of their drugs or something.
A very elaborate drop off and very like high risk. Like I know you were going to do it like a little bit incognito, so it's like I'll just pretend I'm a street performer, doing cool roller skating, and then do the handoff by putting the drugs into my hat while there's 50 people looking around, and that is clearly not a dollar note because it is a brown package, which is the only thing drugs are put in. Like nothing else. So it wasn't going to be. It's like, oh yeah, I picked up your sausage from the deli. That's white packaging. Yeah. Newspaper, that's your fish and chips. Brown, that's your drugs. Everyone knows it.
Are we doing a version of that video about the packaging? It's like the drug version. I do like that. So Erwin Keyes is in this film, who I don't think you would know his name, but you know his face, and he's like the really big unit that's in the game.
Oh, he's very big.
Apparently he's in the first Exterminator, and he's said on record at Comic-Cons and things that he's playing the same character, even though his character dies in the first film. Never explained. And the club they go to, I thought that everyone at that club looked like Corey from Boy Meets World. Do you remember that sitcom? They all just like got curly hair, and they're all just, doing the 80s dances. She comes out, she's meant to do this sexy dance, but I feel like there's just too much like on-set noise for it to be sexy. Like there's just kind of too much kind of like woo and just like
I feel like while the producers and directors and everyone working on this film knew everything about how to set people on fire and not have them die, did not know anything about being sexy, because the parts that are meant to be sexy, I just felt very uncomfortable.
Yep. 100%. She puts a lot of effort into this role, though. I feel like she's a much better actress than whatever his name is, James Spader, Paul McCartney guy.
Robert. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, Frankie Faison, I think that's how we're going to pronounce his name today. Who played? It was BG. Did you say
BG? Yep.
Yeah. He's great when he shows up in other stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's got a friendly face. He's the only actor other than, actually, I'm going to go out there. I think he's the only actor that's in all the Hannibal Lecter films.
Oh, that's an interesting credit.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's in the series as well.
Don't know if he is, but I think he was in like Hannibal Rising, which was like the last one, which didn't even have Anthony Hopkins. But
he's great. And he's also really nice.
Really nice.
There's a scene where like it's after her legs are broken and she's not having a good time, and he just says to like sad Spader, he says, "Hey man, do you need to talk?" And I'm like, "Whoa, this is 1984!"
Yeah,
like,
huge for
and they go to
1984.
like the bar and they talk, but then of course they become vigilantes and murder a bunch of people. But let's put that aside.
Yeah,
That, he was looking after his mate's mental health. I thought that was really good.
I thought so too.
The scene where they meet, there's this really funny shot where they're looking at BG in the truck, and then he leans out of the truck to yell out to Robert DeGinty, and they don't cut to anything that makes sense, so they just stay on that shot, and so it's just like this. It's just a bit of shoulder, and he's like, "Hey, man, how you going? Hey, it's me, BG." Like, I feel like it goes too long. It's just a shot of nothing. It's great.
When they need to interrogate the gang member to find out where the warehouse is that all the gang lives in, and they capture the guy and they put him in the truck. That was good because in any other film, they'd put the guy in the truck and then all this stuff would happen and you'd never see him again.
Yeah.
But
he's still in the truck.
He's living in the truck for, I want to say, 48 hours. And there's a good scene when Robert DeGinty is like doing all the work on the truck, the big montage. It cuts to him in the truck eating just bits of trash that he's found. It's like, here's a gross banana, here's some gross pudding.
Yep. They straight up just forgot he was in there. I even wonder if the filmmakers forgot that they didn't show him leaving the truck. And they're like, oh crap, we have to show that he's still in there.
I like that they stuck with it, because any other films like people won't remember. But, people that have podcasts 36 years later, they remember.
We remember, guys. We know.
We remember. I was disappointed because I did predict last week that at some point in the film we would see someone get squanched. Like get put in the truck and be like, and there was blood. Didn't happen.
They threatened with him, that guy.
They did. I thought this is going to be the moment.
This is a squanching moment.
But yeah, I mean, this wasn't really like a blood film. It's a fire film. It's a burnt film.
This is a burnt film, which is, another link to Threads, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The brothers up in the tree, that's another moment where I feel like they forgot that they had a character somewhere. And like they're all having their gang moment downstairs. The brother's still up in the tree. And then like he comes out with his flamethrower and just sets him on fire. And it's like, you've met him. You know what he does.
Yeah,
like,
that's it.
Did you run through this scenario through your head? Oh, I'll go up a tree where I can't escape. And then he just gets set on fire and killed. So, oh well. Did you know that Kurt Russell based his character Snake Plissken from Escape to New York after Robert DeGinty's Exterminator character?
No, that's awesome.
Yeah. Which I think is
that's a real fun fact. I feel like this film is ripe for a reboot. It's a very basic idea, but it was fun. Like a lot of the bad movies we watch are like, this isn't fun. They've tried too hard to make something serious that we care about, and it just doesn't work. This movie, like, yeah, we know this is going to be dumb, but at least we're going to make it fun.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of good ingredients. It's just terribly made. But it's got, we haven't talked about the Sick soundtrack as well.
That is the best.
Just comes on all the time. Demonetized as I sing this song now.
Well, you can't buy the soundtrack anywhere.
What?
So, you can't. I looked it up. I'm just like, I want this. Apparently they cut only like 20 copies of the soundtrack.
Oh yeah, I did read something about that.
But they never released it. I'm like, man, people get on that. Like in the days of Stranger Things and stuff, people like this sound. Yeah.
Another link to Threads is that both of these films pretty much open on a police radio. Which bit of fun facts there. I don't remember the one in Threads. I had written that down though, so I hope it actually.
I know, because they're in the car listening to Johnny Be Good, and then he goes, "Oh, the football is on," and then wants to change the station, and like that's when you start overhearing forces in Russia. It's like,
blah, 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 blah.
I don't remember it in Exterminator 2. I don't remember.
I know, right at the start where he's like getting dressed or whatever in his flamethrower gear.
Yes. Yeah. Because actually the start of this film with the robbery is pretty brutal. Like,
Yeah.
they murder old people.
Yeah, and they just shoot her in the hip, which is like
That's
not fun.
That's mean.
Yeah. Not good.
And it's like it's shown. Usually it's like they have that off screen, but no.
Yeah, nah, brutal.
Yeah, killed the oldies.
Yeah, this film doesn't hide away. Also, X's Mario Van Peebles.
Yes.
Peoples?
Peoples.
Peepholes.
He's the people's people.
He's the people's people. He's covered in so much glitter. Can we just say they are like it? I reckon after the film they went off and they just did a bunch of voguing. Like,
absolutely.
There's a guy that's like in their shot where they're like all walking along. There's a dude who's just in the highest heels I've ever seen. So, they're queer icons, these guys.
There's that amazing shot where just after the helicopter explodes and they're robbing the armored car, and then the big garbage truck is coming, and Mario is on top of a car, and you can tell it's made just for the shot because he's on top of a car and then does a very well executed backflip onto the ground, and it cuts away. And I'm just like, that did not look natural at all.
Like straight out of Power Rangers.
Yeah, it was still rad though. I understand why a lot of people would be like, this is one of the best, like, is it a B movie or a C movie? It's pretty down there. One of the best of the bad, because it does have scenes like that, which are a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And like Mario Van Peebles, he puts everything into this role. Like everyone, I did
10%.
notice, I feel like everyone's had fun making this movie. I don't know if it's actually the truth or not, but you can kind of feel like everyone's into it. Despite how stupid it is. One way they could bring Exterminator back, I had a thought, is, you know, there's all this like craze at the moment with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and having all these characters. There's like Split and stuff as well, like the Shyamalan universe.
Oh, yes.
There's Justice League. So I think we need like a C-grade movie or B-grade movie universe of like tradespeople that are heroes. So you've got the Exterminator, right?
Yeah.
Exterminator. You've got the Garbage Man, who can be BG.
Yeah, that's good.
The Cable Guy.
That's good. The Dog Walker. I reckon that's a good.
Is that just Owen Wilson from Marley and Me?
Oh yeah, I forgot we were doing movies.
Yeah, I wasn't just saying roles.
Well, I am. But all right, Dog Walker.
Most of them are Jim Carrey in my head though, because you could have like the two guys from Dumb and Dumber, who I think they're also, are they exterminators or they just have a dog car?
No, he was a limo driver, and Jeff Daniels was a pet groomer. So that's
there you go, the pet groomer. But yeah, just people with like, you know, working class jobs. Coming together as like superheroes, being
vigilantes. That's cool.
Yeah. What would you call them? The trades people.
The tradespeople. The tradesperson cinematic universe.
Maybe we'll just call them Mario Van Peebles people. Oh man. But yeah. Do you have anything more you'd like to say about Exterminator 2?
No, but I think this is definitely the first episode where I would recommend the bad film to everybody and not recommend the good film to anybody.
Yeah.
Not because of the quality of the film, but just what the film did for me.
Yeah.
How I felt after watching the film, and that's what I'm recommending.
Yeah, it's probably the first time we've kind of looked at these films and gone, there's a lot more to being a good film than there is to being an enjoyable film.
Yes.
And like, yeah, at the end of the day, you have to decide what you actually want to watch and what you want to feel afterwards, and not just like be amazed at the filmmaking prowess or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're at the candy bar.
Oh, I don't know. Probably something flambéed, I think. or something that's...
Yeah.
It's not... I don't have to worry about cockroaches. That's good.
Let's get rid of that. He's not actually an exterminator too, which is really disappointing.
Yeah, well, he was unemployed until he got offered the job driving a truck.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like driving a garbage truck is a two-person job. you don't really see any of it in the film, but the way I'm picturing it is that BG was doing it by himself.
Yeah,
his own
BG seemed to be
little
like a
business.
solo garbage truck driver.
Garbage truck driver,
And
which would be
he
hard.
loved his job. Oh my
He
God.
did.
Job satisfaction for BG, 100%.
Loved it.
I've never seen someone love their job so much as he does. Like he rolls up, he's cleaning rubbish out. There's like a homeless guy there who's clearly not all there. And he just like throws a beer bottle into the truck and he's doing it. And he's like, yeah, man, do what you want. I'm like, dude, you're the nicest guy. Then they go to the club and like just drive over all this signage or whatever that's on the ground. All this whatever.
Where do you park this thing? Anywhere I want.
On your BG. Maybe we could bring him back somehow. Maybe he didn't die. Although does he get set on fire? Does he cremate him? Or did I imagine that?
Yeah, he might have. He did get shot a lot of times.
Oh yeah.
But it was still like, tell my truck I'm sorry. He didn't say that.
Mac.
But
was it Mac? Was that the name of the truck?
Sounds good.
That's right, because they drive out of the club. They just get there and then they leave to go have breakfast because apparently it's really late.
It is late.
And then they walk past like a nice car. I'm like, okay, cool. I saw you set that up earlier. Good work. And then they get into like the garbage truck and she's like, what's his name? Bloody Sourface is like, it's an experience. I don't know. He mumbles something. And they get in the car and like they're having a love on and BG's just there going like,
he's like,
all
bar's
right,
still open, and then he starts drinking and driving.
Oh yeah, jeez,
Yeah, like, ooh,
bad BG.
Yeah. But then he just pulls over and goes, "Three's a crowd," and walks away. He's like, all right.
Yeah, he leaves the truck, doesn't he?
Leaves the truck, leaves the two lovebirds in the truck, and like, okay, well, thanks for giving me beers and then leaving. Now I have to drive drunk.
Yep. Also, where's he going?
I don't know.
Going back to the club. He's like, I didn't actually want to leave.
Yeah, that's it. I had two girls on my shoulder, and then you said you wanted to go get breakfast, and they left.
Yeah. You had to make me go talk to bloody Andy Samberg at the bar and get my stuff and leave. Oh man, there's so much in this film. I swear, like we could talk about it for days.
Yeah.
But yeah, go see it, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, it's on YouTube. I watched it on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's good quality too. Good quality too.
Wish I knew that. I spent $40 and imported it from Romania. No, I didn't.
No, I was shocked for a moment. And then...
On Laserdisc, no. Yeah, cool.
Rad.
They're the films from 1984. They're the only two films from 1984.
Prove
us wrong by sending a picture of Christian Bale's beard to hello@that'spopcorn.com. I will not rest until there is a picture, not a picture, a drawing of Christian Bale's beard in that inbox. Next week, James, what are we doing next week, mate?
I thought you were going to keep going.
What are we doing now? We're doing like Fantasia.
Yeah. Yep. So if anyone can work out what we're doing, draw a picture of what you think the next episode's about and send it to our thing.
Draw a picture of Christian Bale's beard as Santa to hello@that'spopcorn.com. We're doing Christmas.
Christmas. It's beginning to feel a lot like
Christmas films.
Do you have any in your head that you like at the moment?
I struggle to find ones that I like. I can think of like I haven't ever actually seen Die Hard. Everyone talks about Die Hard.
Can I just quickly put it out there? We're not counting Die Hard as a Christmas movie.
Well, that's what I want. I feel like we need to pick Christmas films, not films that occur.
Occurring at Christmas doesn't make it a Christmas film.
Yeah, but not to spoil next week's episode, but stuff like Nightmare Before Christmas is a big one that comes to mind.
Yeah. Santa Claus 2.
Yeah, and on the other end, is it Frosty? No, Jack Frost.
Jack Frost.
Where I think is it Bruce Willis turns into or someone turns into a singing Frosty the Snowman. It sounds awful.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think that will be fun.
That will be fun, and that will be next week.
And that will be popcorn.
And that will be popcorn. Like, comment, subscribe to whatever YouTube channel you want. Really, do yourself a favor. Don't spend too much time on YouTube, or else you'll be radicalized into the alternative right, and that won't be good.
No.
For unless that's something you're into. I don't know. Do what you want, but just bring down the establishment and QAnon. Anyway, also follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram,
TikTok,
Keisha. And then I don't know, send us a picture of Christian Bale's beard.
Do it.
That's popcorn.com.
Just do it.
And bye.
That's all we got.
That's all.
That's
and
a
we'll
whole
end
lot.
this podcast like we end every podcast, awkwardly.
Good.
Da, 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 da.